Welcome to Script Snap. Today, we're diving into the 2010 sci-fi action thriller Predators. Imagine waking up in freefall, thousands of feet in the air, plummeting toward a dense alien jungle. This is Royce's reality. He deploys his parachute just in time, crashing through the canopy and hitting the forest floor with enough force to black him out. When he comes to, he has no memory of how he got there, only that he's still armed and dressed for war. He's not alone for long. Within seconds, Cuchillo, a Mexican cartel enforcer, crashes down beside him, weapons drawn. Before a standoff can even begin, a third body hits the ground between them. His parachute never opened. The silence is shattered by gunfire. Royce maneuvers through the brush, flanking the shooter, Nikolai, a Russian commando who was in the heat of battle only moments ago. They soon realize they share a common thread, a blinding light, a loss of consciousness, and a sudden drop into the unknown. Emerging from the shadows is Isabel, an IDF sniper. She's a survivalist, yet even she doesn't recognize this terrain. As the group begrudgingly forms an alliance, they are being watched by Hanzo, a silent Yakuza assassin trailing them through the mud. Deeper in the brush, they stumble upon two more men locked in combat. Stans, a death row inmate, and Mombasa, a South African rebel. The fighting stops when they realize they're all in the same nightmare. They even find Edwin, a doctor dangling helplessly from a tree whose story matches their own. But the jungle holds more than just survivors. They eventually find Hanzo standing frozen before a macabre totem of human bone. To Mombasa, these are trophies. To Nikolai, this is a test. To Stans, an experiment. Some even fear they've died and woken up in hell. Royce cuts through the panic with cold logic. The why doesn't matter. Only the escape does. As they push forward, the environment proves as deadly as any bullet. When Nikolai reaches for a beautiful flower, Edwin warns him just in time. One touch causes total paralysis. In this place, even the beauty is designed to kill. They are no longer the hunters. They are the prey. As they push deeper, the environment itself begins to betray them. Isabel's improvised compass spins in useless circles. High above, the sun remains frozen in place. It hasn't moved an inch since they landed. Royce's theory is chilling. They weren't dropped here by accident. A group of elite killers and one doctor. They were chosen. The mystery takes a gruesome turn when they find a discarded cage, its interior stained with blood. Looking up, they see dozens more tangled in the canopy. They aren't the first ones here, and they certainly aren't alone. The jungle is a minefield. Mombasa accidentally triggers a tripwire, unleashing a lethal gauntlet of swinging trunks and falling stakes. After the chaos, they find the trap's creator, a U.S. Special Forces soldier, dead for weeks. Royce realizes the truth. The traps weren't meant for humans. They were designed for something much, much larger. From the shadows, an unseen predator watches. It tracks them with infrared precision, mimicking their voices like a ghost in the machine. When the group finally reaches the jungle's edge, they look up and receive the ultimate shock. Hanging in the sky are alien planets and unfamiliar stars. This isn't a remote corner of Earth. They are worlds away from home. The silence is shattered by a high-tech drone and the sound of guttural growling. From the brush, a pack of nightmare beasts charges. The group erupts in a desperate spray of gunfire. Royce takes one down with a blade. Isabel picks them off with surgical precision. Just as the group is about to be overrun, a sharp, piercing whistle echoes through the trees. Instantly, the creatures retreat. The realization settles in like a death sentence. Those weren't the hunters. They were the hounds. They were being used to test the group's defenses. This entire planet is a game reserve, the cages are the stock, and for the first time in their lives, these world-class killers are nothing more than prey. The group realizes they are one man short. Cuchillo's voice echoes through the trees, desperate and pleading for help. They find him slumped on his knees, broken and bleeding. Isabel rushes to assist, but Royce blocks her path. He knows the cold logic of the jungle. It's a trap. Despite Isabel's protests, the men leave him behind. She fires a single mercy shot to end his suffering, only to hear his voice cry out again from the shadows. The horrific truth is revealed. Cuchillo was already dead. His voice was nothing more than a recording, a lure used by the hunter to draw them into the kill zone. Royce refuses to be the prey. He decides to track the tracks of the hunting dogs, leading the group directly to the enemy's camp. The site is a nightmare of intergalactic slaughter, bodies of various alien races pinned to stakes like trophies. In the center of the camp, they find a captive, a hulking, monstrous creature known as a predator, bound and alive. The discovery is cut short. A barrage of spears whistles through the air, claiming Mombasa's life instantly. Royce and the others return fire, their bullets hitting thin air, until the impact reveals a shimmering, cloaked figure. The hunters have names, and lasers. Explosions tear through the foliage, forcing the group into a desperate retreat over a cliff and into the churning river below. Safe in a cave, the group's internal fuse blows. Isabel lashes out at Royce for using them as live bait, but Royce is unapologetic. He now knows their enemy's strength and their technology. Under pressure, Isabel reveals a classified secret. She's heard of these creatures before. They are the same demons that haunted the jungles of Guatemala in 1987. Royce prepares for a standoff. He sets a defensive perimeter, attempting to force the hunters into a choke point. Using Edwin as bait, they wait for the movement in the trees. Isabel takes the shot, but when they rush to the fallen body, they don't find a predator. They find another confused victim from the cages. The realization is chilling. Isabel did miss. Someone else shot the target. They aren't just being hunted, they are being toyed with. Just as the group feels most vulnerable, a voice emerges from the air itself. A figure decloaks behind Royce. Not a monster, but a man. This is Noland, a former soldier who has survived 10 seasons on this planet by living like a rat in the ruins of a derelict ship. Noland is a ghost of what they might become. Years of isolation have fractured his mind, leaving him talking to imaginary friends and scavenging gear from the dead. He reveals the true nature of the game. Every season, the hunters bring new prey to test new tactics. They are constantly evolving. He also confirms a rift between the creatures, a blood feud between the larger predators and the smaller ones, explaining the captive they saw earlier. While Noland retreats to the shadows, the group shares rare moments of humanity. Nikolai shows off photos of his children. Hanzo finally speaks, revealing the brutal cost of his past silence. But Royce has no interest in bonding. He is obsessed with the Predator's ship. He believes he can strike a deal with the captive alien, an enemy of my enemy alliance, to get them off this rock. The peace is short-lived. Thick smoke begins to fill the room as the doors hiss shut. Noland has betrayed them, intending to suffocate the group and loot their corpses. But Royce is 2 steps ahead. He detonates an explosive, not to break out, but to ring the dinner bell. The noise draws a predator straight to Noland. The scavenger's luck finally runs out as a laser blast ends his 10-season streak. The hunter then carves a small opening into the group's room, toying with them, daring them to come out into the dark. They scramble through the ship's suffocating corridors. In the chaos, Edwin is separated, his screams for help echoing through the metal halls. He is cornered, the growl of a predator vibrating in the darkness. The group, driven by survival instinct, chooses to leave the doctor behind. Only Nikolai, the Russian commando, turns back. As Edwin flees, Nikolai stands his ground against the cloaked nightmare, knowing full well that in this ship, there is nowhere left to run. Inside the ship, the predator impales Nikolai, hoisting him into the air like a trophy. But the Russian commando has one last move. With a defiant spit in the alien's face, he triggers a detonator. The explosion levels the corridor, taking both of them with it. The survivors stumble out of the wreckage, but the hunt isn't over. A second predator decloaks, slamming Royce to the ground. In a rare act of selflessness, Stans, the death row inmate, jumps onto the beast's back, stabbing wildly to buy the other's time. The predator, enraged, ends Stans' life with a horrific display of strength, ripping his spine from his body. The group is being hunted by the third and final predator. Hanzo, the silent Yakuza, knows what must be done. He unsheaths his katana and stands alone in a clearing. It is a clash of ancient honor, blade against blade. In a final simultaneous strike, both warrior and monster fall. Hanzo dies as he lived, a shadow protecting the light. Meanwhile, Edwin's leg is caught in a trap. To Royce, he is now dead weight. Royce suggests the unthinkable, using the doctor as a booby-trapped corpse, but Isabel refuses. Disgusted by their lack of pragmatism, Royce leaves them behind. He returns to the camp with a desperate plan. He strikes a deal with the captive predator, freedom for a ride home. As the chains fall, the creature activates its technology, projecting a star map of Earth. The deal is sealed, and the ship is summoned. But the hunt has one more twist. The third predator captures Isabel and Edwin, throwing them into a pit before engaging its liberated rival in a savage duel of the Titans. The super predator overpowers the prisoner, beheading its kin and destroying the departing ship before it can escape the atmosphere. In the bottom of the pit, Isabel remains loyal to her humanity, telling Edwin she doesn't regret saving him. But the doctor's response is a poison-tipped scalpel to her neck. The mask finally slips. Edwin isn't a victim. He's a psychopathic murderer who finally feels at home among monsters. Just as Edwin prepares to finish her, Royce reappears. He never made it to the ship. He pulls them from the pit. unaware that the woman he just rescued is paralyzed by the man he just saved. Royce is no fool. He sees through Edwin's facade instantly. As the doctor lunges, Royce is faster, pinning him and turning his own poison against him. He doesn't kill the doctor. He uses him. Royce booby-traps Edwin with a cluster of grenades and retreats into the shadows. When the final predator arrives to claim its prize, it finds only the doctor. The resulting explosion incinerates Edwin and sends the hunter reeling into a wall of fire. The stage is set for the final hunt. Royce uses the environment as his greatest weapon, feeding the flames to create a curtain of heat. The predator's infrared vision becomes a liability, blinded by the fire. Royce becomes a ghost in the smoke, striking with a crude axe and vanishing back into the orange haze. But the hunter adapts, tuning out the heat. It focuses on the steady thrum of a human heart. It fires through a tree, wounding Royce and slamming him to the ground. The creature stands over him, ready to deliver the final blow until a single shot rings out. From the mud, a paralyzed Isabel has dragged herself to her rifle. She finds the mark. The predator is staggered, and though it fires a dagger into her shoulder in a final act of spite, the distraction is all Royce needs. He retrieves his axe and rains down a flurry of desperate, primal strikes until the hunter's head is severed. The silence that follows is heavy. Royce helps Isabel to her feet, two survivors of a game they were never meant to win. As they look toward the horizon, the sky begins to fill with parachutes once again. New cages, new prey. Royce doesn't look away. He has survived the monsters of Earth and the monsters of the stars. Now he just has to find a way home. If you want to see more sci-fi breakdowns like this, make sure to subscribe to ScriptSnap. Don't forget to hit the notification bell and leave a like to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there.